we're happy to get something out, that's for sure. And you know, on the one hand, I wish we had done it sooner. But on the other hand, it just took us this long to get a record together that we're happy with and proud of, and felt like we were ready to put it out. And this was just the right time for this record, is how it all ended up coming together. It's strange to release a record in the middle of a pandemic, doesn't it? Like, we take all this time away from a record, and after all these years, we decide to wait until the pandemic hits.
We knew something like this would happen. We planned it.
But it's the right time because there's so many bad things that have been going on the last few years. I felt like there are all these things that we wanted to write about, things that were important, things I wanted to say about addiction, about social unrest, about things that are going on in the world. And oh my gosh, the pandemic just kind of put it over the top, of where let the bad times roll is the perfect slogan for these times.
Nobody's having sex anymore, the most important issue.
That's right. And on top of it all, cherry on top,
nobody's having sex.
So it just kind of made sense. This title made sense for the album. It made sense for the times that we're in. And we did wait a little while. We waited almost a year because the record was kind of done a year ago. And then we thought, we don't want to wait anymore.
What if things in the world got better and all of a sudden this record didn't mean anything?
Yeah.
So we had to put it out while things were still relatively shitty.
We can't wait for the good times to come back.
Absolutely. Next one's going to be finally good shit. That's going to be at the title of our next record.
One.
Yeah. We've been working on the record for, the last 9 years, or 8 of those years anyways. We've been doing other projects as well, like you mentioned, all those things. About 2 years ago, we really entered a creative period, and that's when most of this record came to be. And we realized this is it. We've got this, and that's what we have today, is the rest of the record. There were some songs that were older. Of course, Coming For You came out like 5 years ago, and we knew that would be part of this. Some of the songs we've been working on for a long time, like We Never Have Sex Anymore, and even Let the Bad Times Roll changed quite a bit over time. But the majority of this stuff, I think, was written probably about 2 years ago. Like, let's say Let the Bad Times Roll. It starts out with a real aggressive verse, right? And then the chorus is kind of almost upbeat, poppy, and dancey. That changed. Like, the chorus wasn't there when we first started working on that song. The song was a little bit more aggressive all the way through. And eventually we got to the point where it just wasn't really working. The chorus wasn't working. We got to a point where, how do we make it better? And this is what we ended up with. And I think it made it way better. So it just, sometimes it takes longer for things to come together, and sometimes it goes by a lot quicker. Like, This Is Not Utopia came together relatively quickly. That was one of the last songs written for this record, and came together pretty quickly.
It did.
So you never know. Some songs take a lot more work, and you have to kind of set them aside and then revisit them later and see what you got, and before they change, when an idea for how a song should be comes to you, you can't really force that. It's either there or it's not, and sometimes it just takes longer for those ideas to come to you. We've been working with Bob for like 12 years now, and it's a relationship that's just kind of developed over time. We're real comfortable working with Bob, but he still pushes us. It's, he's not afraid to jab us in the side if we need it and prod us along. So it's great working with Bob. He really is kind of like the fifth member of the band, or a member of the family almost.
Mm-hmm. Every record we're writing songs, and we're kind of going where the songs take us. And sometimes you have to let the song be what it is, if you know what I mean. And I think on the last 2 records, that just felt like expanding musically more. And this record, we started writing songs, and it just felt like we were writing more straightforward songs, more like regular, I don't know what people call classic Offspring songs. I hate to use that word. And it's interesting to hear, talking to you, saying this sounds like old Offspring, or from, and I don't know if we thought about it so much like that. We weren't trying to go backwards, because that doesn't sound right. You don't ever want to be like that. But I think it's maybe a return to a little bit more straightforward songs.
Punk rock wasn't just about, pop music and pop rock stuff is all about oh, he got the girl, he's got the bitchin' car, he's out, it's a sunny day, you know, and
That's what rock and roll was.
yeah, rock and roll,
Uh-huh.
right? Chicks and girls, and you get lucky. Everyone, you know, pop and
Mhm.
you know, mainstream rock. Punk rock was all about, hey, let's look at what's really happening in the world,
Yeah,
you know, and
More
let's
real.
point out what's fucked up. You know, let's not pretend this shit isn't happening. Let's be honest about some of the things we see happening in the world. We don't want to pretend that everything's great. We want to be able to talk about the things that need changing in this world, and so that's where punk rock, you know, came in for us when we were growing up. It kind of helped us figure out what to accept and what not to accept. You know, punk rock has never stopped since it started. It's always, you know, it gets driven underground, and then it you know, gains in popularity. I think you'll find, you know, punk rock influences throughout mainstream music now, whether it's hip hop or rock or even, you know, some pop performers kind of borrow from what is punk rock. But really, the scene is still happening. There are still underground shows that happen quite a bit. There's kids that are selling their own merchandise. You know, I mean, music doesn't sell so much. Although vinyl, they're bringing back vinyl, which is fortunate, and t-shirts and stuff like that, and badges and patches and all that. There still is a vibrant scene that happens really all over the world. You know, where kids are just whenever kids are just putting on shows. And punk rock is incorporating some of the other elements like hip hop. You find a lot of hip hop in punk rock now, and there's the fear that we're not going to be able to do it because of things beyond our control. You know, over the last couple of years, we split with management. You know, we had no label. We had to search out a record label to put our stuff out, and there was a lot of restructuring going on, and we were a little worried, like, what does it mean for the band? Are we going to take a hit here? I mean, we know we can still go out and do it, but are we going to be able to go out and do it successfully? Is there still, are there fans that still care about us? All of that, you know, is stuff that we still kind of worry about. We want to be able to go out and connect with fans. And if we're not doing that, then there's no point in doing it. Fortunately, so far, everything's been going well, and we can still go out and do it because I don't want to do anything else. You know,
You don't want to get a job.
I don't want to get a real job.
Oh, yeah.
You know, yeah. We love being in here making new music, and then we love going out and playing live and connecting with the audience. There's no feeling in the world like that. You know, there's always new stuff that I find that's at least new to me that I think is pretty cool. There's a band, actually, they're not new, but the Bronx, I think, is probably one of the best punk bands happening right now. They're just a great band. All their records are fantastic, and they put on a great live show. But a band that I recently heard from Australia called Pissed Idiots is something I really like a lot. A lot of guitars, really cool guitar stuff going on. They sound a little bit more post-punk, I guess, is how you describe them. The Fiddlar's got some stuff happening right now. I just heard a new Fiddlar song, new to me, that I thought was pretty cool.
We can't wait to get back out on tour, and we have to wait till it's safe. It's beyond our control, but we're ready to go whenever that happens.
We've been rehearsing already with the band, and we love, I mean, because we can't play for an audience, so we might as well get in here and work out all the parts, especially we got a whole new record's worth of stuff to try to figure out who plays what. And it's been fun. We've been having a good time learning all this stuff and you know, playing together. It's just fun.